Hello, my friends, and welcome back to another episode of Painting with Harold. And tonight I have an 11 by 14 canvas turned on landscape that is already covered in a thin, even coat of liquid white. Tonight we're going to do something quick and we're going to do something different. I am going to show you, we're going to try a couple of different things here. And the first thing we're going to try different is I'm going to show you my palette tonight. I'm going to try to as I work. What I have out is titanium white, Prussian blue, alizarin crimson, mountain mix, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, sap green, cadmium yellow, yellow ochre, Indian yellow, and that evil bright red. All of these colors are Bob Ross colors. And what I've done, after I put each little pile out, I probably put way too much red, so you probably won't need that much red. I think all the other colors we won't have a lot left over. We're probably going to have some left over, but we can use them tomorrow. The titanium white I start with, and I go in and I just pull straight down on that paint. And then I clean it off on a paper towel. And I do that to every color. And before I go into another color, I make sure I clean it off. And that does a couple things for us. Number one, if you're holding your palette up and your paint's kind of oily, it don't let it run down because the paint you pulled down holds it in place. Then it makes it easier for going in when you first start to load a brush. You don't pull down a big blob of paint. And the first color we're going to use tonight on a 1-inch brush is we're going to use Prussian blue. And what we're going to do is I'm going to go into the Prussian blue and I'm just going to tap a little color on the brush straight on, just like this. Just tap it. And you'll see what that does. It puts a thin coat or a thin load all the way into the bristles on this brush. And I'm not going way up into the big blob of paint. I'm staying down here in what we pulled down. And I was told the other day that when I do my X strokes, I'm doing them a little fast. That you can't really see how it's done. Well, I'm going to slow it down tonight and show you. When I'm doing them X strokes, what I'm doing is that right there. An actual X. That's what I'm doing. Just like that. But now, when I'm doing it, and I'm loading that brush again just like I did, when I'm actually doing it and I'm painting faster, and the more you practice, the faster you'll get. Don't worry about speed so much. I mean, you're not doing this to race somebody. If you want to do it, just to produce paintings faster, speed will come. I mean, it will. Because I'm not near as fast as I'd like to be. But I'm faster than I was when I started. But you always want your corners darker. Always remember that. And that's all I'm doing. I'm still doing that little X stroke. That's all I'm doing. Doing it the same way I just showed you, but I'm doing it faster. And as you know, once it gets in and goes to mixing with that liquid white, the closer you get to the horizon, the lighter it's going to get. And you can turn your brush on the side when you get down to where you want your horizon to be. And you can just kind of turn it sideways. And it kind of helps you get a straight line across. There's a reason I do it. Now, I don't know if everybody does that or not, but the reason I do it is it helps you get that little straighter horizon line. And then, I'll tell you what, we'll go ahead and blend out, starting in the light spot. We'll go ahead and blend across here very lightly. And you can do circles now, or you can continue to use the X stroke. Either or works. It don't matter which one you use. That's entirely an individual preference. But what you want to do is, once you start your side to side strokes like so, don't carry a lot of dark color back down into your horizon. And I'm about middle ways right there. And for this painting tonight, that'll be fine. And then I'm going to put a little more of the blue paint, just like I loaded it before. Same brush, same style, same pile of paint. And I'm going to come in from the side, down at the bottom, and we're just flicking some color in here, just like so. And the closer we get to the horizon, the lighter that color is going to get, just like so. Then we'll load up a little more paint, same way. We'll come on this side, and we'll do the same thing. Start pulling that color in from the side, and just pull it in straight across. And if I'm going too fast for that, let me show you all it is. It's just a little, that's all it is. Just a little straight pull of paint across the canvas there. That's all it is. Alright, now I'm going to knock some of this color out of the brush right now. And when I say knock the color out, I just mean rub it on a napkin or a paper towel. And then we're going to start in the light area again. And we're just going to come across here and just very gently blend it together. And just like always, we're going to try to leave that little sheen of light across the middle here in case we need it to act as a little light. Most of the time, something usually covers that up when I'm painting. Sometimes it really helps, sometimes it don't. And in the water, if you end up with a few darker streaks here and there, that's perfectly fine. Because water's multicolored like that sometimes. But just like that's fine. And we don't want to carry a bunch of dark color back up into our horizon. So, alright. And all I'm doing right now is just knocking some color off the brush. And I'll show you. That's how much came off. So, and then I'll flip that napkin inside out. And I'll just continue to drag that brush across this paper towel until it gets the majority of the paint out, and then we'll save it. Alright, now I'm going to pick up a fan brush, and this is a number 6 fan brush. Excuse me. It's been with me since I started painting. Since I bought my Bob Ross brushes, I've had this one. And it's starting to wear down some, but I still use it. Now, I'm going to show you how I load my brush. I'm going to load it with titanium white and just a little bit of red. And everybody always says a little bit of red, and you hardly ever see how much red is being used. Well, let me show you. If you can even see that in the camera. Right there. That's how much red. Probably a little larger than a ballpoint pen. And I'm just going to put it in my white, just like that. And then I will wipe my knife off. Because even that little bit of red, if you get it on something, it's going to find you. It's going to follow you. But now, just like so, I'm going to take my my fan brush, and this is the way I'm going to load it through this entire procedure right here. I'm going to pull it right through this paint, just straight down, just like so, on both sides. And I will do this next step. I'll do it kind of slow so you can see it happening. I'm going to be using the corner of the fan brush. And what I'm going to do is, just the corner, is I'm going to come up and I'm going to start rolling it in little circles. Just letting it roll. That's all I'm doing. Just letting that brush roll. And then you can come back up here and take it off the canvas, but just little circles, and you want to keep it moving. And then you go back and you can load it the same way. Just keep it loaded. And then as you start coming over towards the middle, just let your circles get a little smaller, and just pull your little cloud all the way in, just like so. Just make sure that your top is wider than the bottom, and we'll work on that as we start blending. All right, we're gonna come back in. We're gonna load the brush up the same way again, and using that same little circular, because you want to keep the brush moving. And there again, speed will come with time. We're going to start right here, and we'll give ourselves a little spot here, and we'll drop down under it, and we'll come across here with it, and we'll come across here with it, and we'll just give ourselves a little fluffy cloud that is just hanging around, like so. We'll load the brush up again. We'll come up to the top, and we'll just do us a little side to side action this time. Just something to make a little cloud looking deal. And then we need one that's kind of way off in the distance, and all that is just tap. Just tap, just like so. And just like that, you've learned 3 different methods of making clouds in one little area of the painting right here. And you can let this touch in a couple places. All right, now I am going to wipe a lot of this color out on a paper towel before I drop it in the thinner. That way it don't muddy up our thinner too much. Tonight's really basically about going back to the basics. I mean, that's about as simple as I can put it. Because, it's something I hadn't thought about while I was doing these videos. Some people are catching these videos now. They didn't see the ones that I've got posted already in the past. So they're just now seeing these videos, and it's like, it kind of confuses people. And I understand that. So from now down again, we'll throw in a little basics type video, and just something to get us painting. All right, now I'm going to take my 1-inch brush, the one that had the blue on it, and I'm going to come up to the bottom of this cloud with just the corner of the brush, and I'm going to start blending out the bottom, just like so. And that's a gentle procedure right there. It's not anything hard. Then we'll knock that color out, and we'll come up, we'll softly hypnotize this one, and we'll do it the same way, just very gently. And we'll do the same to this one, just very gently. Come in here and hypnotize it in a couple places. We got us a little hair right there. We'll pick him up, get him out of there. And that's all we're doing. We're just softly hypnotizing these clouds, just very gently. And then for our little drifter down here, we'll just very lightly touch him and just pull him across like so. That's all we got to do. And just like that, we have well, we're not done yet. I'm sorry. We got to come in here and lift them up. Just come in here and lightly lift them up. Fluff them up, just like so. And then very gently come across, very gently, and just flatten them out. And Bob Ross used to say, 2 hairs and some air. Just whisper across the clouds, just like so. And just like that, we have some pretty decent little clouds in our sky. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and clean this brush right quick. You don't have to clean yours if you don't want to. The only reason I'm cleaning mine is because I really don't know why I cleaned it, to tell you the truth, because you don't have to for this next step. But anyway, I did, so it's done. And then after I beat the devil out of it on my rack over here, I got a rack that fits in the bottom of a trash can. It's a brush beater rack. Once I beat the devil out of it over there, I bring it back to a paper towel and just make sure that it's clean and dry, because you definitely want it dry. Alright, now I'm going to go into my mountain mix, and this is how we're going to get it on our brush, or on our knife. I am going to go in here and pull it down flat, just like so, flat as I can get it right there. And then I'm going to come across, or we can do it this way where you can see it. I'm going to come across, and I'm going to pick up just a little roll of paint. You can see that little roll of paint on that knife. It's very small. Probably the size of a spaghetti noodle, if you had to compare it to something. And then we're going to come up here. We can either start our mountains over here and work that way, or over here and work that way. That's really preference. I think I'll start here. Let's say you split this canvas in half, and then you split it in half again. Call these panels 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to be in panel 1. This will be our halfway part right here in panel 1. So at the halfway point, if we lay that knife down in panel 1 and touch just like so, you can come out here and touch again, and you can come out here and touch again, just like that. Now I know I haven't been doing them this way, but I want to show you why I'm doing them this way today. That way when we come up here to this one, we can come in here and we can go to pulling us down a nice little edge here. Because you always want to work on your outside edge. What's happening in the body right now, we don't even care. Now the second one that we just did, we can bring it in, and we can get our second little ridge of paint right here, and that creates a new ridge for the mountain. And then we can come over here and do the same thing on this side. And then we can bring this out and down. Now we want to remove this paint in here as much as we can. So come in here and get as close to your line as you can without going outside of it. Because if you go outside of it, your mountain is going to grow. But when you do that, see, you're starting to get another little roll of paint. And when you get that little roll of paint, you can come back up here. And you can touch one more time. Just like so. And you can bring you another little peak way off over here by itself. And then come in here and clean these edges up. Just get as close to your outside edge as you can without, I mean, really get aggressive with pulling this color out. Get in there and get as much of it out as you can. Just like so. That's all we're doing. Because once you get this canvas stained, this color's in here. I mean, you can't get rid of it once you get it in there. All right, about like so. And you can hear how I'm scraping right here. I'm really scraping. All right, clean off my brush, my knife. I am trying hard to make this a brush. I'm sorry. Okay, now I'm gonna go into my. No, before we do that, let's take this clean, dry brush we just made. Now I'm gonna lay this brush flat on this mountain, and I'm gonna work it up to my edge. That way I can get as close to that edge as possible. And I'm gonna slowly pull it out, just like that. Just like that. Then I'm gonna come back up here. Then I'm gonna come in this peak and do the same thing. And then on this side, I'm gonna come in, work right up to the peak again, and pull it out on every peak. And then after just a second or two, knock some of that color off. That way you're going back up here with a semi-clean brush, and that'll help pull more of the paint off. Because we want to get as much of this paint off as we can, and we want to leave our color. And you're going to leave the color. I mean, trust me, you're not gonna pull all that color off. Then we'll knock a little more of the paint out. We'll come back up, we'll do it again. Very, very gently, very carefully, to not get into our line out here. We just want to pull this color out and down, all the way down, just like so. And then the same over here. Just pull this color out and down, just like so. Just like so. Then if you get a chance, knock some more of the color off. And come across the bottom. Just kind of clean him up a little. Just like so. And that'll start working on your mist some. Because you want your mountain to look like it's like it's sitting in a little area of mist back here. Just like that. That's all we're looking for. Just like so. Now, we're going to hold on to this brush for a minute. Now is when I want to show you how we're going to do this. Alright. We're going to come into the white. Uh-oh. See how that red does? It's already done got on that knife again somehow. It's on my finger. I cannot. I'm telling you, red is... It's like notorious for me. Let me get this little bit off under my fingernail, or I'll have it in my hair. I'm telling you, it's red. Me and red do not get along. That's why I call it evil red. That night that tube blowed up on me, I had red paint everywhere. It looked like I'd cut my arm off and was bleeding to death. Alright. Get me a clean paper towel over here and get ready. Because I'm sure that red will pop its face up somewhere else again in a minute. Alright. Now, again, sorry about that. I'm going to go into my white. And I'm going to pull it down as flat as I can get it. And it's still got a little of that red in it. And that's perfectly fine. Pull it down as flat as I can get it. And come across and get a little roll of paint. That's all we're doing. And we're going to load it just that way every time. We're going to get a little roll of paint. I think you might be able to see that. Find you an angle here that might help. But it's just a small roll of paint. And we're going to come up to our first peak here. And very gently, this is a very gentle process. You want to come in and just very gently pull this color out. That's all we're doing. Just very gently. Letting it break. Then go back. Pick you up another little roll. Come in here. Same thing. Same thing. Just pull it down at an angle. Very gently. And we'll do that until we get our whole mountain covered across here. All right, we'll pull it flat again, just like I showed you. And we're going to pull across, get that little roll of paint. We'll come up to our next peak here. We'll pull down very gently. Just very gently. All the way down. Come up to this next peak, same thing. Just pulling this color straight down at an angle. Just very gently across here. Let it come off the let it come off the knife just as gently as you can. Because believe it or not, the knife is never actually touching the canvas right now. All that's touching that canvas is that little roll of paint. If the knife is actually touching the canvas, you need to go back up and get some more paint. Because you don't want your knife touching right now. All you want touching that canvas is that little roll of paint. And that's it. Alright, we'll come out right here. And we'll come over. We'll give it another little peek right here. We'll pull it down. Just like so. Just very gently. Let it break. And then go ahead and pull it all the way out. Just like so. I'll tell you what we need to do. We need to go ahead and close this one in over here. Just like that. Pull it on down. Just like so. Then we'll take the little edge. And we'll come in here and close this up just a little. Now, I'm going to clean it off. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to pick us up a little white. Probably, if you had to guess a size on that, I'd probably say that's about as much as, I don't know what to compare that to really. It's not much, but it should be enough. Then we're going to come in here and we're going to grab us just a little bit of our Prussian blue. We're going to bring it in and we're going to make our shadow color right here. Now you don't have to mix this to where it's one solid color. You can leave it kind of marbly like that. And we're going to load the brush. God, I'm trying my hard to make that a brush. We're going to load the knife the same way we've been loading it. Just come sneak in here and very gently pull this color down. This will give us a nice little shadow here. And that's what we're looking for. Just a nice little shadow. And you can use the little edge to get in these tight places, like right here. And anywhere you have a highlight and you want to put a shadow behind it, all it'll do is it'll give you another dimension. Alright, and we'll come right in here and we'll pull it down at an angle. Because don't forget, our mountains are nothing but angles. That's all they are. Just like so. Come in here. Give that little area its own little shadow. Then we'll come up here to this peak. And we'll give it a little shadow color. Work it down in there like so. Then we'll come in here. And these couple little dark spots. And we'll give it its own shadow. Just make sure you pull it in the opposite direction. If your highlight's going at this angle, pull your shadow at the other angle. Just pull it in an opposite direction. Like right here. You can see how that's going off this way. And when you start your shadow, come up to the white and just touch it and pull it off in another direction. The opposite direction. Just like so. And then get as close to your edge out here as you can. And still using no pressure. No pressure. Just very lightly following that outside edge. That's all we're doing. And you can see it picked up a little of that white. And that's because we didn't thoroughly mix our shadow color. A while ago we left it kind of marbly, and that's the benefit of doing so. Alright, we'll come right in here. Just remember your angles. That's all we're looking for right now. We want to keep our angles right. Because a lot of the success in a mountain depends on your angles. Just like so. Just very lightly pull it down. Okay. Then we'll come right here on this little peak. And we'll pull it down at the same angle. Just like so. And then to give it a mountain type look, we'll bring it out here and kind of turn it out a little, about like so. And you see what that's doing? It's giving you like a little rise right there. We'll come back out here and we'll do the same thing. We'll just keep pulling it right on out, just like so. Then we'll come back in and we'll sneak in our little ledge back here, and we'll very gently work around it because we want to maintain that darkness back here, because we want this to look like it's in front of that, and in order to do that you got to have a difference of color right there, just like so. Now that spot right there is killing me. So I'm going to come back up into my white and I'm going to pick up a very, very thin, even line again. And I'm going to come up and just barely touch that outside line. Just like so. And you can go back and just very gently, you can touch your highlights in certain places, and you clean that outer edge up, and it'll give your mountain a sharper edge, a sharper sharper ridge on your ledge, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And just like this, just very gently pull this color out, very gently. And just like that, we have us a pretty little mountain range. Now, I'm going to take the same 1-inch brush that we used for everything else, knock this color out, and come up here and just gently tap along the bottom, going up into the mountain just a little bit, following the same angles. And it's always important to follow the same angles, because the mountain is your angles. I mean, that's, and what that's doing is it's diffusing the bottom of your mountain, and it's making it appear as though it's sitting in a little area of mist. And then very gently, at the same angle, very gently pull these colors up into your mountain, just very gently. And then knock some of that paint off. And these little spots like that does not matter in the least, because you're going to come right back across the bottom, and you can do little circles, and, you know, just like you do a cloud, just little small circles, and it just gives it that mist flavor even more, just like so. Just very gently pull into your color. Now I hope you can see that on the camera, how it sets this mountain down in that little bit of mist. All right, now one of the things that I think looks good in a painting is when you got a light color and a dark color and a light color and a dark color to where they keep contrasting off each other. In my opinion, that gives a painting just a certain look, and I like the way it looks. But now, just like that, this brush that we've been using, I'm going to go ahead and clean it for now. Alright, and then I'm going to clean that fan brush that we used earlier. Go ahead and run it through the thinner, because we're going to need it pretty clean and dry for this next step. About like so. Alright, now I am coming in here. I'm going to pick up some Mountain Mix, about that much. I'm going to pick up some Prussian Blue, and it's about the same amount. But then I'm going to pick up probably twice as much of the Crimson, and I'm going to put just a little bit of Van Dyke Brown in it. And then that's what I'm going to end up with, about that much. And that the whole thing is probably equal to a melted Hershey's Kiss, if I had to compare that to something. And this color that we did the blue a while ago, about a half a Hershey's Kiss melted. And if you had never melted one, put it in the microwave. Oh, I learned that by mistake. That really wasn't funny, because I made a mess. My wife was hot too. Boy, she got mad about that. She said, "Why did you put them in the microwave?" I said, "Well, they was in the refrigerator." You know, I just did one of them man things. Oh, we had a big laugh out of that, really. She didn't get mad. All right, just like that, we got us a color. Now, if you don't know what color this is, take your little bit of white. Let me show you. Take your little bit of white and put it together. Now, I know because I'm mixing it on white, but you can go somewhere out of the way and you can mix it. Or, yeah. See? We ended up with a lavender right there. See it? But now, It's going to be a little darker than that because we toned that down with white. But you can see what color we're working with. We're actually working with a kind of a darker purple. And you'll see it right here on this next step. I am going to load this fan brush the same way we loaded it for the clouds. I'm going to pull it straight through on both sides. And just kind of wiggle it. You know, let me show you the wiggle, because we didn't do that on the clouds. But when you're pulling it in, just kind of wiggle it. And what that does is it works that paint down into the bristles real good. And it keeps it sharper. Because what we're fixing to do now is we're going to make us a little line of what I call the tappy trees, to where we come in here, we want to stay under our mist, and we're just going to come up here and just start tapping and coming straight down. That's all we're going to do. Now, you hadn't seen me make these trees this way yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to go all the way across the canvas first. And I'm giving it a little space in between. Making some of them tall, some of them short. Go back, load the brush. Make some of them tall, some of them short. And I am this time leaving a gap in them. And I know you're not supposed to. But then as I get over here, I'm going to start working up the heel. And that's about as far as I need to go. Now, I'm coming back and I'm cleaning all of them up. I'm closing them all in together now. Just like so. And you can see how they're kind of growing at a kind of in a round, not so much round, but a semi-round type deal here. But just try and remember to keep some of them taller than the others. Just like so. Come back and kind of even the bottom up best you can. And then come out here, still in your same mist. Just don't kill all your mist, because that mist is acting as your separator. That's what's going to help us show distance in this. And we'll come over here and tap it down. Now, I'm going to hold on to this fan brush for a second. And I'm going to pick up a 2-inch brush. Clean, dry 2-inch brush. And I'm going to come up here. I'm going to start. No, I'll tell you. Yeah, let's do that. Let's start right here. And we want to pull this color straight down. Straight down. You don't have to pull real hard. You can pull kind of gentle. Just pull this color straight down. Come straight across. Straight across right through here. Kind of keeping you a straight line right there. And then once you get up here, you don't have to go up right in here for no reason, because I already know what's going to happen here. We're going to bring another tree in, and it's going to cover these. It's going to cover anything over that way up. So right in here is what we're concerned with. We want to pull this color straight down, just like so. Just pull it straight down. And when you're pulling down your reflections, the thing you want to remember is you want to try to bring it down as tall as it is up above. Are you going to hit that exact? Yeah, you might get lucky. Is it going to matter if you don't? Not at all. Okay? And then very gently, we're going to rub right across And we're going to turn that right into reflection, just like so. And then, very gently, I'm going to come up and I'm going to pull straight up on these. And what that's going to do is, it's going to clean the top part up and give them a little sharper point on some of them. Plus, it'll bring us a separator color in here. See how it pulled that mist, all that is liquid white coming through, is all it is. And that blue mixture. But just like that, it's pulling. Let me see if I can get you to see it. See how it's got these lighter colors in between the darker colors? It makes it look like, almost like a forest. And then once again, we can pull this color down. And just very lightly go back across it again. And just like that, we have us a pretty nice little reflection going across there. Alright, now, we're going to pick us up just a little bit of white. Now, I'm pulling it out flat, and I'm going to show you how I load this. So I got this white pulled out flat, and I'm going to take that knife and just zip, just like that. And if you didn't see that, let me do it again. I'm going to put it flat over here, touching the palette, and zip right across. And it puts that roll of paint on top. And the reason you want that roll of paint on top is when you come up here and start doing your water line across here, you can kind of bend your knife up a little and still see what it is you're doing. Whereas if you had that on the bottom, you wouldn't really be able to see it. And all you got to do is just lift that knife up just a tad, and that paint will start coming off your knife, and you just work it all the way across the canvas like so, just like you're trying to cut a hole through it. And you're not going to, because these canvases are tough. And if you got a spot right here where it got away from you, just come up and just lightly touch. That's all you got to do. Straighten it right out. No one of them little happy accidents. Alright, we'll clean the knife off. Now, this color that we're going to mix next is going to be the rest of our mountain mix. We're going to use it all. We're going to use some more Prussian blue. We're going to use some more Van Dyke brown. And we're going to throw in about a Hershey's Kiss of sap green. And we'll mix these colors on our palette. Now we're going to mix these colors good. I mean, we're not going to leave them marbly. Now they don't have to be, you know, like making a cake mixed that good. You know, just make sure you got them mixed up to where they're not, you don't have a dominant color, I guess is what I'm trying to say. They're all mixed the same. What I'm hoping for is I want a dark green. Now if we don't end up with a dark green, we're not going to cry about it. It's not that big a deal. Okay. Now on this side, I'm going to load that brush the same way we loaded it a minute ago. Pulling it through and wiggling it through that same color we just made. Just pull it through and wiggle it. And I'm going to come up here above the mountain, but inside of this. Can you see that? I'm coming over to the right of these trees, but I want to come up here above the mountain. And I'm going to bring it in and just touch the canvas and pull it straight down into that. And I'm going to come down to the bottom of my reflection, right there. That's the lowest reflection I got, and that's as low as I want to go with the with the tree, or the trunk of the tree. Now, loading the brush up the same way again. We're going to come in here. Let's fix the tip of it a little bit. Alright. I'm going to come in here and just lightly touch and tap. Lightly touch and tap. Making a little zigzag across here. Just tapping down. That's all we want to do. That's all we want to do. All the way down the tree is just lightly tap. Just come back over and keep doing the same thing. And then the further down you go, you can turn that brush and start using more of it. And you can start getting a little wider with the base of your tree here. Just like so. And just like that, that's all we want to do. We want a nice little evergreen tree. Just like that. And we left some, little limbs out here where the birds can land and the squirrels can play. And alright, now we're going to come right back up and we're going to get us even a taller tree right here. And we'll do it the same way. Put us in a little trunk all the way down. Okay. Loading the brush the same way. Pull it through the paint and wiggle it. Because we wanted a real good dark color right here. We didn't want we wanted us a dark color. Alright, then with the brush turned, where we're using just the tip, bend it down a little and start the same way again. And just tap. Just tap. That's all we're doing. Just tapping that color. Now it's going to get off your canvas over here on this side. And all that means is when we get down to the bottom and finish these two trees, we'll just have to make a decision as to which one's in front and which one's in the back. And I can just about tell you now, the little one's going to be in the front. Or if you want your big one in the front, that's fine too. We may do that. We may put the big one in front. That would make a little more sense. We'll just see what the lay of the land looks like when we get to that point. Alright, now, we got a good bit of paint still in our brush. So what we want to do is want to come up. I tell you what, I'm just going to draw it. We're going to come out like this. And we're going to come across here at an angle. Just like so. Now, I'm halfway to canvas right there. So I brought that tip out a little further than halfway. I'm going to take this brush and I'm going to place it on here. But I'm not going to place it the angle that I pulled like so. I'm going to place it on here like this. And all I'm going to do is drop down under it a little and press upwards. See how I'm doing that? Now let me explain to you why I'm doing it that way. That way the grass is coming straight up off the bank. It's not growing out at an angle. I don't want it growing out at an angle. I want this grassy little look to come straight up off my bank over here. So I'm dropping under it a little and just letting it protrude above it. Just like so. That's all you got to do. And see, it lets your grass grow up. And you can do that all the way up the tree. Up through the trees. And then you can come back in here. Now this part right in here, you can fill it in however you want to. I'm going to keep doing it this way, just for the texture. And I'm gonna fill it all in. I don't I don't want to make it look like I got water coming through. Using dark color, like when you do a black gesso painting or a liquid black painting, that's where that stuff really helps. Is when you have that dark color here already for you. All you do is basically just highlight above it, highlight them dark colors. All right, now, how are we going to do this? Let's don't worry about highlighting just yet. I'm going to lay this fan brush to the side for now. And I'm going to clean that 1-inch brush that we used earlier. We'll come over here and beat the devil out of it. Then I'm going to dry it off on a paper towel. Now the same color that we just used, the same identical color, I'm going to pick up my palette and show you again. This time, to load the brush, I'm going to pull some of the color down and I'm going to tap. See how I'm tapping? I'm tapping pretty good, but I'm bending my bristles as I tap. And when you're picking that paint up, you can see it put that texture into your paint. And one of my paintings, I said it reminds me of a popcorn ceiling, and it kind of does. But now, just like this, I'm going to come here at the bottom. I'll tell you what, I'll turn the brush sideways, or I'll turn it like this, because you always want that rounded edge pointed up. And you can remember that by one side of your knife, or one side of your brush has a little raised ridge right here, and the other side smooth. So put that raised ridge up and just push, just like so. And it'll give you a little bush shape across here. And once you get you a determined little bush shape like so, you can turn that knife sideways. Not a knife, a brush. You turn that brush sideways and then pull it through the paint. Just normally pull it. And then come up here and push it up in a couple places just like so. I got it laying sideways. You just come up here and push. Just like so. And then come across the bottom. Just like so. Kind of clean it up a little. That's all you got to do. Just like that. Now I'm going to go back and load that brush the same way I showed you a minute ago. Just tapping it in and pulling it off the canvas. Not sliding it in any kind of way. Just straight down and straight back out. Then we'll come in here. We're just going to come up and start giving ourselves a little random tree shape. And the further out we go, the lighter it's going to get on top. And just like so, just give yourself a little random tree shape here. Just like so. That's all we need. And here and there you can kind of turn it sideways. Just like so. That's all we need. I'm through with this brush. I'm through with it for now. So I'm going to knock a lot of this paint out, because if we drop it in the thinner bucket right now, it is going to make a mess. Believe me. I was really hoping this painting wouldn't take too long. Okay. We're going to hold on to the fan brush for a minute. Well, I tell you what, let's go ahead and work on that now. Alright. I'm going to take a little of the dark sienna, just like so, on the knife, and just bring it anywhere that you got a clean spot to work. Pick you up some white, and just a touch, a very little of the blue, and bring these colors together up here. Because this color is going to get used for a couple different things. First thing it's going to get used for is the trunk in our trees. And that's how we want it mixed. We just want it mixed marbled. And then we'll come across, pick up that little bitty roll. And we'll come right up here in our evergreens. And we'll just lightly touch this in a part of a trunk. Just like so. And just like that, that's all we need. And it's also going to get used for our, well, we'll do that in a second. Alright, we're going to go ahead now, we're going to start highlighting. And I'm going to clean out that fan brush we had a while ago. Now it don't have to be perfectly clean. It can maintain a little of that dark. Because what that dark will do, since it's predominantly black, is it'll get in with our cad yellow, which is what we're fixing to go into. Straight into our cad yellow. And then we'll pick us up a little sap green and put in here. And get you a little bit of thinner and thin it out. And we don't want this color to be too light. We want it to have a kind of a darkness to it. Alright, picked us up a little of it. Just make sure we got enough thinner to where it's going to come off our brush. Because we don't want to get up here and create mud. Alright, let's determine which of these trees is going to be in the front. I'm going to let the tall one be in the front. And the way, excuse me, the way we do that is we're going to come in here and we're going to highlight this one first. We're just going to come along the side out here on this outer edge. We're just going to touch with the corner of the brush. And if you have to get more paint, get it. But it's not going to, we don't want it to be too dark. Too light. We just want to be able to know it's here. But what we're doing is I'm basically highlighting from the middle out toward the light. That's all I'm doing. I'm not coming to the left. I'm highlighting from the middle out toward the light. And then the further we go down, the darker we'll get. Just like so. We'll come up here and touch this. Just get out here on that edge a little bit. Just like that's all we need. Then we'll come up, get us a little more color. And we're going to do it the same way. But this time we're going to highlight from the middle and we're still going to go the same direction. We're going to come from that side over to the other side. We just want this tip. We want the right side of the tip of this trees to be more highlighted. So it looks like it's coming across in front of the other one. If that makes sense. And you should be able to see it happening. It's going to push that other tree back. Just like so. Now if you don't have a definite separation in color up here, come back with your highlight and just go ahead and clean it up very gently. where you get that separation in color. Just like so. You got to have that. All right, we'll take our knife. You got to have that separation in color. And we'll go up and we'll pull our little peaks up to where we have straight peaks. All right, now we're going to clean this bank up here. And to do that, we're going to come into our yellow ochre, our Indian yellow, all the yellows. Just all the yellows, mix them together on that brush on both sides. Just mix them together because you got a little green in there. And then to dull it down, you can pick up just a little of that red. And that'll give it a difference in color. And what we want to do now is we want to come up. Let's start right up here. We don't want to kill all the dark. We want to leave a little dark color here. So we'll start over here like so. And remember, we want these grasses coming straight up over here. Don't forget that. And just keep these same colors on your brush. Just don't forget that you want these colors coming straight up. Because if not, you go to push them off to the side, that's not going to be very attractive. Now up here, when you just try to remember that. Try to remember to keep your brush, your colors going straight up. Because while you're doing that, at the same time, you don't want to kill all that dark down in there. You want to leave some dark color, and it'll make that bank look, it'll make it look deep. Like it's got a shape. See how that's working? Just keep your grass standing straight up. That's all you got to do. All right, now we're going to pick up our filbert brush. Not the filbert brush. Good grief, her. The script liner. And I'm going to bring that script liner brush into that same color that we used to make them trees over here. We're going to get it good and thin. Twist that brush in there. And roll it, spin it. Get a good point on it. Then come up here and just very gently come through here with a trunk like so. And just kind of shake it and wiggle it and jiggle it. Just whatever you can to give it a natural look. Because to me it just looks more natural when it's like that. And come in here and out. And it don't hurt to have a straight one every now and then. Because you're going to cover most of them up anyway. Alright, now while we're making that, let's come right in here. And we'll find us a spot. We'll come up out of here. And we'll just make us just a little dead looking one. Like so. Then we'll come down here and we'll widen him up at the base. Just like so. And we'll leave him sitting down in there just like that. And we have a little dead tree. Now I'm going to clean the script liner brush up. Because if you don't clean the script liner brushes up and put them back up, for some reason they'll seem to get away from you. Okay, let's highlight this tree with that same 1-inch brush that we used to make them. And how we're going to do that is, I'm through with the fan brush. We're just going to wash it real good, clean it. I'll beat the devil out of it. And I'm going to show you how we load it. Okay. See how we got our yellow all mixed together here? We're going to bring that yellow in. We're going to pull through. See how I'm tapping? Just in and out, not pulling in a certain direction. Just tapping that corner. And we come over here and pick us up a little of any of the colors we want to pick up and bring over here. That's all we're doing. Is just tapping that top corner into the paint. And as it loads, you can see the top corner has more paint on it than the rest of the brush. And that's all we're doing. Just tapping the color on that top. And when we come up here, we want to keep our tree shape. You know, we want to remember that we're building a tree here. And in the same token, we want to remember not to kill all the dark. We keep some paint on this brush. Then drop down and just lightly tap. That's all we're doing. And every once in a while, you can go pick you up a little more of the green. And just tap it on that corner. Look at there. You can come over here and pick up some more of the Indian yellow. Just like so. Pick up a little more of the cad yellow. Because all of these differences in color, all they're going to do is help. Every once in a while, since we're out in the sunlight, let's pick us up some white. And mix it right on the brush with these other colors. And we'll come out here and we'll make them zing. We'll let them pick up some light out here. Just make sure you keep your color, you know, don't kill all the dark. And at the same token, remember that you are making trees. So you want to keep your tree shape. Just like so. Just leave yourself some color in there. Just like so. Just leave yourself some color. And if it starts not wanting to act right, don't want to come off that brush, get you just another dab of thinner. Because if you keep that thinner on it, it's going to come off that brush for you up here. It will pull it off. Just like so. That's all we need. We'll put us a couple little sunlight spots in here and there. We don't want many. About like that's all we need. Then we'll come into the red and we'll tap it on the same way. But now, when we get that red on, we want to go over to our yellow ochre and kind of mix that color down a little. We don't want to come in there with just a real bright red and blow the whole thing out of the water. But just like so, just enough to get a pretty little bush shape here. That's all we want. Just a pretty little bush shape, about like so. Then we'll go pick us up a little more of the thinner. Now when I said a little thinner, I'm serious. I'm talking about a very minute amount. Alright, and I'm going to come in. Let's pick us up some white now. And we'll get us some of that Indian yellow. I love that color when it's mixed. That Indian yellow and white makes such a pretty color together. It is just so bright. If you ever want to show sunlight, that's the two colors to use right there. All right, we'll come out here. All right, that's going to be a little darker. So we'll come out here in this sunlight. Look how that just zings. If you have a problem seeing that color, hey, you got a serious problem. Because that is a serious little firecracker right there. I'm telling you. Just like so. Alright, and then we'll knock that color off a little bit. And I'll tell you what we'll do. We will come into a little bit of the alizarin crimson. We'll tap it on the same way. Since it's a little bit darker red, and we'll tap it into that color that we just made right there, and it'll give us a little darker effect. And then that way we can come under this and leave a little dark. We can come under this color, and it'll be some brighter, but even at that, it won't kill all your dark color. Alright, now let's put these colors in the water. Alright, we're going to add this one right here. And these are these colors that don't have to be exact. Alright. Then we will pick us up some of the white and a little of the Indian yellow that we made up. And we'll bring that color in here. Don't want a lot, just enough. Just enough to know it's here. See how it just kind of lays in there like so. Alright, we'll knock the rest of this color out. Just like so. Drop it in the thinner. Pick up that 2-inch brush that we used earlier, way back into painting. Come right under here and just whisper. I mean whisper through this. Just this is such a gentle touch right here. Just like so. And then very gentle, come across and rub it just like so. Alright. Then we will pick us up some of that white, pull it out. Just like we did this water line up here, we're going to do it the same way. Get just a little roll. Come right up here under your bushes. And just put that line all the way across, just like so. Your little water line. And then come back up, get you a little bit more. And come down into your water. Give yourself a couple nice little ripples across there. Then you can do the same thing up here. Just give yourself a couple little ripples here and there. And that's all you need to do. Let's see, one thing that we're going to do before I put the H on it. I am going to take my script liner. I'll use this little one, it don't matter which one. And I'm going to go right into just a little of the white right here. And very little bit of the dark sienna. I'm just looking for a little tan color. Our light's coming from this way, so I'm going to come up here and I'm going to, in a couple places on this tree, I'm going to drag in a little highlight color to make it look like the sun's dancing across here, touching it in a couple places. And the whole tree does not have to be highlighted, just a couple places. Just like so. And we'll hit right in here very lightly. Let that have a little highlight. Just like so. And this limb here, we'll give it some right out here. Just like so. And that should be all the highlight we need. And we pull it in. Now, we're going to go in here. We're going to pick us up just a little of the Prussian blue on this same brush. I'm going to come up here and give it a little bit of reflected light in a couple places. This don't have to be everywhere either. But it'll add to that 3D effect. Just like so. Just kind of bring it over. I'll give our tree a three-dimensional look. We'll just do it in a couple of different places. It does not have to be everywhere. Just like so. Yep, just like that. Now, I am going to go into my red. And I'm going to come over here in this corner. And I'm going to put my signature on it. Just like so. And we're going to call it a finished painting. It's a very basic, simple painting, just like I said from the beginning. Please comment and let me know if showing that palette helps any, because I really need to know if it helped, because I'm about to spend some money on a camera. If it helped, I'm gonna go ahead and get one that we can kind of dedicate to, to the whole process here. Because I think a better camera would make better videos, and I really need to know what you guys think. Couldn't do it without y'all. I really couldn't. Really wouldn't want to do it without y'all. There wouldn't be a purpose in it. But now, once we're done painting, let me show you what we ended up with. If you can see this. That's the colors that I have left over. So you can see, I basically put too much color out for that painting. And if you make that mistake, keep in mind that your colors, your darker colors, like any color that has that oxide in it, like the Van Dyke Brown, dark sienna, sometimes your blue does it. Sometimes, very seldom, your alizarin crimson will do it. They have a tendency to dry quicker. The titanium white could probably stay up here for pretty close to a week before it started getting gummy and unusable. Your yellows generally stay, good for a day or two. So does the bright red. The sap green's okay for a couple of days. But I'll be able to come in here tomorrow with any color I have out right now, and I may have to add just a little bit of medium to my darker colors. And if I do, I'll share that process with y'all, where you can see how it does, so we don't have to throw paint away, because Lord knows we don't need to be throwing paint away. This stuff is expensive. All right, guys, thank y'all for joining me again. I love you. God loves you more. Y'all have a very blessed night. And like I said, please comment and let me know if that helped, showing the procedure. And I can't thank y'all enough for all the likes and all the subscribes and all the comments that y'all have given me so far. Have a great night.